Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today's guest is a supercharged and inspiring social entrepreneur who, along with her husband, is making Indians and Indian businesses inclusive towards people with disabilities. Shanti Raghavan is a social entrepreneur whose own experiences in enabling her visually impaired brother initiated her into the world of empowering Indians with disabilities. Her organization, Enable India, works closely with corporates, the state, and individuals to train, enable, and create employment for thousands of people with disabilities. Thanks to location partner Vivanta by Taj. Shanti, tell me, how did Enable India come about?
It all started with my brother, who started growing blind at the age of 15. My husband and I were in the US at that time. And what we did was we started working with him, rehabilitating him. The first time we called him over to the US and he could see a bit. So we took him to Niagara Falls, had a good time. You know, can you see a little bit? Yeah, I can see. Okay, fine. The next time we called him over again. And this time his eyesight had gone really down because he has a retinitis pigmentosa, a disease which makes your eyesight kind of go down and down. So when he came over, we realized, wait a minute, if he cannot see, well, he can do. So we only did. So what did we do? We did every kind of adventure sport, every ing. So first I started with swim-ing, then we went on to kayaking, then snorkeling. Now, have you done that?
No.
So you see, my brother's done it. We did hot air ballooning.
That is so cool.
I know. And we even did rock climbing. Okay, now, of course, he fell on some cactus and so that happens. But
I hope
that's
nothing
fine.
was damaged.
Yeah, nothing much. But he did have a lot of thorns and, he was like, why did you make me do that? I said, see, sometimes these things can happen. So, whatever. It goes with the territory. But at the end of it, what he said was, I think I can walk on water. I think I can do anything I set my mind to. We even took footage of him, so that my parents saw that and the sky was the limit.
Yeah, I guess they wouldn't have been so worried about him losing his vision anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's just started the journey, right? So he did his BCom and then he came over one more time. And this time we spent significant time trying to rehabilitate him further. How does he use the cane? And he wanted to go to the gym. So I said, okay, you're going to use your cane and go to the gym. He learned even how to cook.
So you really just empowered him to do whatever he wanted to do.
He had to learn cooking. And I also gave him audio tapes. There are so many lovely audio tapes of John Grisham, Agatha Christie or whatever. So now if you can't read a book, you can hear a book.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are alternate ways of doing things. And then we came back to India. He did his MBA. We helped him a lot during that time because he used a software which would, on the computer, which would talk to him. So that way he would be able to read. So if he has to read his book or...
So you'd be able to listen to whatever was on the screen.
Yeah, what's on the screen. So even if he had to access a library, he'd go on the internet, search it, and listen to it. So for all that, we'd go to, and help my brother, train him, and then he passed his MBA. He stood first in Narsi Monji, which is a top 10 in India. And he did his MBA in marketing. He goes for his interview, the group discussion he aces, and then he should actually automatically get placed. You know that,
yes.
From your background, you would understand that. So he goes for his first interview, he gets rejected, the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And he's like, hey, what's going on? He didn't realize it was because of his vision impairment. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he went through 70 interviews and still didn't get through. But interestingly, my husband and I were not worried for him because he was enabled. He's going to fight his own battles. We didn't really give a damn, And the truth is, after that, he found a job on his own and he started working in Tata Finance. But just while his journey of finding, a job started, somewhere we felt, hey, we're done with him. What do we do with this knowledge? What do we do with this? It's like a hand grenade, you've got to throw it at somebody.
Now you know how to enable someone who's disabled.
Yeah.
So this was about 1999?
Yeah, 99. That's when we started on a part-time basis, yeah.
What's the journey been like since? It is, in a country like India, we have 70 million people who are disabled?
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy to reach out to people in the first place and enable them, number one. Number two, to then look at employment. And I know at Enable India, you're doing both. You're not just enabling people, but you're also trying to get them employed, because that's the only way you'll have a sustainable solution.
Absolutely.
In terms of inclusivity.
Correct.
Yeah. So tell me about the challenges and the growth.
So in 2004, the journey went to a different stage where I went full-time. So I quit my job. My husband continued, and I quit my full-time job, which was an interesting decision to take, right? And that's when the journey, even exploded further. So now you're saying, hey, how do you do something like employment, right? So I'm thinking, why would I give a job to a person with disability? If my person with disability has the right skills and the right attitude, will a company take him? Okay, that's the starting point. But how will he work? So we worked on, on that piece, which is any person with disability actually can do any job if they have the right solution. I call it a workplace solution. So, just to make it very simple, if you need to fly, let's just try it. You're not going to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
So you use a plane, and that's your solution. Yeah. In the middle of the night when you can't see, you're using a torch. Well, so that's your solution. The person with disability will use a different solution and achieve the same results. So this is not the only business case. There are many other points.
Fascinating yet very sort of simplistic, in-your-face approach.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's how we started the business case. The business case kept growing. I can tell you the place we've reached now is, I shouldn't say, I feel that we're actually doing a service to a company. Not the other way around. Oh, they took a disabled person, they did Bhagwan unka bhala kare. No, I feel we are doing a service, because when the right person with disability, that person should be employable, that person should contribute.
That have person, the skills.
Yeah, they should have the right quality, the right attitude. Otherwise, I don't want to place them. How about that? Enable India staff does not want to place them. But when they go, they become a change. They become the change agent. Because there are people there sitting with their set of problems and, thinking nothing is possible. And here's this person using alternate solutions, doing all the things and not complaining, or maybe complaining a bit, but
they're like any other employee, delivering, being productive, and that can have the impact, in the longer term, in terms of how much more, I guess, corporates or businesses are open to employing, persons with disability.
But it actually does more than that. It actually makes the company inclusive. And then what we really did was we worked a lot on the employability part, which is really the development of the candidate. If a person is disabled, what is the real problem? Well, it's not just, I can't see, I can't hear, I can't move. It's more than that. I don't network. I don't have any kind of exposure. If I'm in a family, and so you and I are there and I'm disabled, guess who will be sent to go and get Maggie? Let's say I just have one leg with polio. No, let her not go. You go, get.
The sympathy angle comes in.
Sympathy angle, or she's going to be slow. She'll drag her feet and go, So then, how do I learn to be responsible? How do I get my self-esteem? There are so many other issues. So in our employability training, it's very simple. When our candidates come, they own the training center. They have to do everything. And then they also in our training learn to enable themselves. Then what's employability skills? You can throw that in. You can throw in the computers. You can throw in anything. And we're also working on long-term solutions. I'll give you one interesting example. How does a hearing impaired communicate, let's say at a petrol pump? Because this is the example we use all the time. At Shell, we did this. Well, they don't need to actually talk to you. So we have a wipeable communication board. It says petrol, diesel, how much money, blah, blah, blah. You just tick what you want and write 500 rupees and you're done. And then he wipes it and goes to the next customer. So it doesn't need to be technology. It's more about solving the problem. So that's the solutions part.
Okay. Yeah. Now tell me, how many,
persons,
people with disability have you trained?
Yeah.
And also facilitated employment for?
Sure, I'll tell you. Actually, I want to tell you one more piece in terms of the numbers you're talking about. What really we're very proud of is that every year we are opening up around 50 to 100 jobs so that people with disability can get a job on their own. They don't need to rely on us.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Isn't that more economic?
So they don't have to go through your training to be employed.
Yeah. I mean, if they can get a job on their own, nothing like it.
So this is where, your empowerment of businesses And educating
Absolutely.
businesses
Yes.
to be inclusive
Yes.
or how to be inclusive
Yes.
helps. So
It's very important.
those jobs are already being created.
Yeah. Obviously, we do the training and do the placement. But for us, our ultimate goal is, can that person with disability get a job on their own? Because then we are not needed. I mean, that's the best economic independence, right? And annually, we train around 450 to 600 people with different disabilities. It could be visually impaired, hearing impaired, physically disabled. And we've done our training in Bangalore and quite a few places across the country.
So what's it meant to have Deepesh on board with you? You know, what's it meant to work together as husband and wife, and not just in enabling your brother, but also then going on to build Enable India, where you've trained thousands of people and you're making, you know, hundreds of businesses inclusive.
So you know Deepesh. So the best way to describe him is the wall, maybe like Rahul Dravid, or many people call him the saint. Okay, I don't know, maybe they look at me and they feel that. But he is really the rock, you know, in many ways. And it's interesting. He was
You're
always
the ant that runs away all the time and does all these
it's
hundreds
really,
of
yeah,
different
yeah.
things.
And it's a pain to be with me, actually, I feel. Anyway, so he's put up with me, so that's the first thing. Over the years, when he was not full-time, he's always been in the background, being an enabler. So Enable India gets enabled by Deepesh. When he came full-time, let me tell you, my staff was very happy when Deepesh came on board. Because there was somebody who talked slowly and communicate.
Doesn't expect you to run at 100 miles an hour.
And you know, so here's this person who talks and, you know, and also is, you need a devil's advocate, right? So if you're saying A, there should be somebody who's saying B with another thinking hat.
Okay, you're definitely giving me an idea about the kind of man I need to look for.
Yeah.
Thank
we can
you
talk
so much.
offline about that. So anyway, so that's what he brought, right? Responsible really for where Enable India is today.
How are you funded? You know, how has all this growth happened?
So initially, it was only people giving small donations, and that was there till almost, I think, 2007, which is quite a long time if you ask me. But at that time, we innovated a lot. You didn't have any money, you're poor, so then, you know, you innovate a lot. You don't have money, so you got to have cost productivity. After that, we started getting regular institution funding. You know, so we have Dorabji Tata Trust, Axis Bank Foundation, Tech Mahindra Foundation. They started funding us. And interesting side, two things happened. Some of the companies started coming back and saying, you know, when you give a batch of 7 people, 6 people get chosen and they're so good, they're so employable. Why don't you charge us for that? And the NGO part of me, oh, yeah, oh, of course, why not? Oh my God.
You can make money over there.
No, because it helps to you sustain
costs,
yourself.
yes,
You know, I
absolutely.
mean, and you don't need to only rely on a funder, which is good. If you can't sustain yourself, if a funder goes away, what do you do, right? So we started doing that charging, and now, in fact, we actually have a hybrid model. We have Enable India NGO. We also started Enable India Solutions Private Limited, which charges companies. So if there's a disability workshop, we charge for it. And obviously, that links back to Enable India NGO to sustain it. I'll tell you one very interesting number. I think you'll like this. For every ₹1 that we get donation, our economic impact, because we did this survey and social impact, we are giving ₹6.55 back to society. Because when your person with disability gets enabled and what ecosystem gets created, this is the...
That's fantastic. So now, you know, you've come this far. When you look at the future, what are you aiming for?
Well, when you really work on building the capacity of persons with disability to be role models, in the future, they will be the change agent. So you really want that. Imagine all the jobs have got analyzed, solutions are there, you've kind of done all the enablement, and then they just rock on their own. You know what I mean? You want that to permeate to lower and lower. So the role models are there, and then you want to be able to even help people who are getting educated right now, who don't even know there's a future. So if they don't think of their career now, it's a problem, you know? So we want to actually work backward.
Create an attitude shift across
Absolutely.
the country.
And that can happen. You don't need to do it. Enable India doesn't need to do anything. They just need to create more and more change agents. The vision we have fed persons with disability who come for our training is, you be a better Indian. You be a person who goes to a company, works with awesome quality and awesome productivity, and then maybe the others will follow. Because we need that now in India. So it's not only about, oh, you're disabled, you'll get a job, and I hope you'll have an okay future. No, you're going to drive the change for India. So that's the only vision I have. And if they lead the change, because when a person with disability leads the change, the motivation is going to be at a different level.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's
pleasure.
absolutely inspiring to see the kind of work that you're doing and how proud you are, about the work that you're doing.
I'm proud of our persons with disability and our staff.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Join our mailing list at chaiwithlakshmi.in/subscribe and keep in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Pinterest.